Hello guys, welcome to the channel. This is Paper Rule. Since the 4th October batch, there have been an influx of players with Druid in PvP, World vs World, even PvE, everywhere in the game right now. So I'm trying to help out with tips and information about how to utilize some of the traits or the Druid capability. So the biggest change that affected Druid that wasn't a buff or something everyone liked was Druidic Clarity nerf, because it's now 3 conditions but to 5 targets instead of 13 condition only to you. So some people don't like using it right now, thinking it's very weak. However, they are correct, can be considered weak, but it is still very defensive. It's still a very good cleanse on a 10-second cooldown, so it is okay. And losing it completely, removing it for another trait of those, will mean that you can't go in a fight, start hitting or whatever, and counting on Celestial Avatar to save you while you're trying to kite out again. Because the only cleanses that you will have is inside Celestial Avatar itself. You will not be able to break free easily. This skill is fairly strong, but still there will be the delay of entering and then using it even if it is instantly, and combined with other skills. So I still think Druidic Clarity is my favorite choice, especially I'm running it with anti-toxin in my build, so it is 4 conditions simply by entering Druidic Clarity. However, the other traits, this one can also be focused on support, like Druidic Clarity if you want to increase the healing to allies or if you want to cleanse allies as an option. I don't like cultivative synergies as much in competitive play, maybe in big groups when there's other people to carry the cleansing stuff, so you focus on healing more. But in small scale or even PvP sometime, I do not like it that much, even if it can be actually very strong. However, the subject of this video is Primal Echo, how to use it, what is the correct way to use it generally. So Primal Echoes basically is reducing the cooldown of the staff skill, which is very useful in case you want to heal, projectile defense, move faster and everything. It's very nice to use. As you see, now it's 16 seconds, and if you do it with the bit swap trick like that, it's down to almost 10 seconds because it already lose about a second more than that in the casting itself, so you lose a lot of cooldown in it. It reduces 5 seconds of the cooldown each time you use it on an ally target, so your bit is one of them. If you struggle with when to switch bit, you can actually teach yourself that through either the duration or the sound. The sound effect of it change near the end, so you will get really used to it the more you hear it, or the feel itself. It just will come to you very easily, and you can simply adapt to the casting time or even the distance, but just use it enough time and you will learn when to switch bits just like that, and you will never actually have a mistake with it. And it have a very huge room for error. If you need to switch bits in like the last third second or something like that, it's not even a quarter, so it's a really long time when you can actually switch the bit and not necessarily exactly next to you. So let's get back to the trait. The trait, like we said, will lower the cooldown of staff skills and also apply 1 second of daze to 5 targets around you in a 300 radius each time you switch to the staff, but also it will work with each time you enter Celestial Avatar. So let's say we are on our short bow, we go to staff, it will trigger. We enter Celestial Avatar, it will trigger. However, it has to be the cooldown has passed of 8 seconds to it itself. So let's show you how that work. So I'm in combat here. I enter Celestial Avatar, as you see I trigger the daze in front of me, but if I switch to the staff, nothing will happen because it didn't pass 8 seconds. So this trait is triggerable on any weapon, even without the staff itself. If you're using like sword, dagger and short bow or something, you can still trigger it, but it will only happen in entering Celestial Avatar. Since always remember, this bar count as a weapon completely, and the tooltip should actually clarify this to people, but it simply doesn't. So in case you didn't know, now you do. So as you see, it's 1 second daze. That is quite a problem, and I think it is by design actually. We are hitting a target here. If we switch to staff, we can immediately start hitting the target, so in 1 second we can apply the roots because of the daze we applied. However, in Celestial Avatar itself, if you enter and immediately use Natural Conversion, which is the only hit possible to use inside Celestial Avatar, the 1 second will be best and you will not trigger Ancient Seed on all the targets around you. So let's give an example for it. I will enter Celestial Avatar and immediately use Natural Conversion. As you see, I do not trigger roots on any of them, no bleed, nothing. because there is a small delay between actually the first hit that happen, and the 1 second will always be shorter duration than that actually possible. And in using it with staff even, that means you will hit one target or the very close target that you can pass the beam through them. So it's not really reliable to actually hit everyone around you. And using Primal Echoes to actually trigger Ancient Seed seems obviously as the best option possible. So how can you fix that problem? With the small days of only 1 second and no access to any abilities to damage inside the avatar. If you run trap build or anything that can do other damage and you simply apply the days in it, this already solved inside the traps. So using a flame trap and your enemies already rooted or whatever, and everyone inside the trap already taking the damage that it pulls as a power damage. Once you switch to staff, for example, it will already apply roots to everyone because everyone will take a hit. However, for our build, for example, we do not do that. There is no utility skill that will be able to hit the enemy inside Celestial Avatar. Even the Glyph of Equality turn into a stun break, it doesn't hit anyone or do anything. And even using the root, there is a delay after the first pulls because the first bleed does not happen with actually a power hit. As you see, it have 4 power hits, not 5. So how do we solve this? There is multiple ways to solve it, and there is the correct way or the best way. I will give it in the end. So the first way to do that is actually quickness. If you use any quickness skill, it will increase or make the casting time faster to your skill. So Natural Converger in itself will be able to apply the Ancient Seed to everyone around you. So let's look at it this way. As you see, I triggered the root because I used quickness, and both the enemies have the root around me. This one actually have a defiance bar, so it doesn't count. But as you see, both of them got quickness. So how do we get quickness on a build like that? Either using something like Quickening Zephyr, and we can also use sigils that give quickness. And it's very easy if you have a legendary sigil to switch everything, for example. So you just write quickness in the search bar, and it will give you every sigil that has quickness on it. So you can use quickness on weapon swap that will actually just be enough to actually trigger it, something like Sigil of Agility. Obviously, one of the best options is Sigil of Celerity, since it can be put on both weapons and give you a very long time that will not elapse on itself. So most of the time you will be able to trigger it on each switch, even Celestial Avatar or to the staff, because of the 20-second cooldown, and the days itself will actually activate it, so you get 5 seconds of quickness. And if you blame power build or something like that, if you're running the trait on a power build, it will be very easy to trigger on critical chance also from another shatter. So they can be multiple sources of quickness. And in traits themselves, you can, if you're running a power build mostly, you can be running lesser Quickening Zephyr from Beast Mastery. So you can switch weapon and immediately switch bits or adjusting it exactly to your rotation, do it at the same time or a little bit prior. You only need about 1 second of quickness. That's about it to trigger it, and it's another source of quickness to apply. So that is one solution. There is another solution, however, which lies in marksmanship. Also, again, it's a solution mostly for power, just like another trait that we talked about in Beast Mastery, which is Moment of Clarity. So what does the trait do? It will increase the duration of any days you apply by 50%. So as you see now, this is 1.5 seconds days. So let's look at the change and what will happen from it. So I'm already in combat, and as you see, the extra 0.5 second already was enough to trigger the roots. And that is a very easy solution for any power build that want to run marksmanship. So if there is no place on your build for something like that, or you don't want to invest the sigils and a lot of the build just to implement triggering the roots on everyone around you, which I think is correct, you're not supposed to invest all that simply for it. If you have the quickness, that's fine. Celerity is very great with most power builds and very good to trigger something like that fast, even for the cast time itself. So it's a very good option even if you run what I'm gonna say next. But however, the best way to use this trait is actually to apply the root without even triggering a single hit. So how we do that? It's simply by running an on-weapon hit. Like normally we run Geomancy, and on the other weapon, let's say the staff itself, you run something like Hydromancy. Those are the only two sigils that can trigger like that, and each one of them will have its own cooldown. So every time you trigger a switch, except if Celestial Avatar from the staff or vice versa, because they can be done immediately in sequence, you will be triggering the root simply by walking. You don't need to hit. If someone hit you, if Sif behind your back, if you're simply running without turning your camera, everyone on melee range will be rooted. So let's look at that, how this happened. So I'm in combat right now, just like that, and those enemies behind me, and I'm trying to run from them, as you see, and they already rooted because I triggered the sigil of hydromancy on them. And the same in short bow. You're trying to kite, you're trying to dodge, every enemy around you will eat the root. Let's say you're trying to dodge on short bow or whatever, so you enter the avatar trying to kite, just like that, and everyone just getting rooted and eat a lot of damage without you even hitting them, focusing on healing yourself or even capitalizing on it by dazing, blinding, and start applying slow or whatever you want to do. So it's very simple way in actually applying the daze, and it is the correct way because you will keep triggering roots every time, no problem. And this was my favorite way. However, like I said in the start of the video, I like the survivability that Druid Clarity can offer me, so I did not do that. So is that actually usable in PvP? However, in PvP those options are not actually possible. So as you see in PvP, there is no sigils that apply quickness, and all sigil on weapon swap does not apply hits. Even the one with the cripple, the one with the vulnerability, its own hits itself, and only doom exists. So this form of playing is not possible in PvP. You will rely on traits that give you quickness, on quickening Zephyr itself. You would use it simply for the days. It's still a good thing. If you want to use the trait, that is completely fine. But in World vs World, this is the best option if you want to run this trait to apply roots on everyone around you. I hope you find this video helpful, useful, and informative. Don't hesitate to share it with your friends, like and subscribe, and comment any question if you have any further things you want me to clarify. That was it, and I'll be seeing you next time. Peace.